Now, how would you fix guns in Warframe? How can they be brought up in line with melee, or should Warframe just be a melee-centric game? Ninjas, after all. About a month ago, I made a video titled The Negative Spiral, where I went into full critical potato mode, which I'm going to do again today, but I have a few other topics that I need to, get off my chest in separate videos over the coming week related to Warframe and its current state. But first off, we're going to start with this one. Remember, this is just the opinion of a 7-year vet of the game. Your opinion is just as important, if not more so. For me, Warframe's gun game right now has definitely lost its appeal. It's a little bit stale, and in my Negative Spiral video I mentioned that I was originally drawn to Warframe for its fast-paced gameplay, but also the gunplay was really enjoyable. Such a big, diverse group of different weird and wonderful effective weapons that you could choose from. I mean, we have rocket launchers, grenade launchers, fully automatic assault rifles, you have sniper rifles, you have bows, you have explosive bows, you even have sentient arm cannons. And right now you have, daggers that are more powerful than a grenade launcher. But that's no longer the case outside of the current base star chart missions. If you're still new to Warframe, or playing those base missions, or focusing on nothing but fashion, then none of this video will really be relevant to you. Guns still work perfectly on those normal missions, which is why they've probably been left alone. Digital Extremes cater to new players above everyone else, since new players are the lifeblood of the game and keep the game alive. New players will come in, of course they will have a potential to buy platinum, to pick up some of the new weapons because of platinum, which keeps Digital Extremes as a business going. Whereas veterans have done everything, seen everything, and know the easiest ways to farm any of the new content. But what I mentioned in that Negative Spiral video is a sentiment that other content creators in the Warframe community have since echoed in relation to the gunplay not being in a good place. The game itself has changed, and not for the good. Melee shines above everything else because it has got incredible damage scaling, something that guns don't really have, something that they definitely need to have. We have hundreds of guns in Warframe that are now, just hung over your shoulder on your back as an ornament, or used on your hips as a status primer, or just seen as fodder because melee is in such a powerful state. So why put multiple former on a gun when you can just use any melee weapon at all and get the job done instead? Also, from a developer standpoint, why put so much time developing new guns when they're just going to be thrown to one side? And in the current state right now, when new guns get added into Warframe, they're not appealing to the community. I don't see the same level of excitement in the community that we used to get when new guns were shown off or new guns were about to be added, so something definitely needs to be done. Now quickly, before anyone says it in the comment section, in fact someone might have already typed it, I don't think melee needs a nerf. That's not what this video is about. It's not about destroying melee in its current state or changing it. I think it could possibly do with some tweaking to combos or making the melee moveset more enjoyable than just spamming E, but right now it's the only way to deal with Steel Path endless missions, farming Steel Essence and keeping on top of life support and having a steady stream of kills, because enemies in the Steel Path are heavily armoured augmented. But at the same time, right now melee builds are pretty much one and the same across the board, using the same set of mods regardless of what melee weapon you are using or what stats it actually has. They used to be modded for status or crit to boost the base stats depending on which one they heavily leaned towards, but right now Blood Rush, Condition Overload or Weeping Wounds, and maybe Berserker as well, on the same build for any melee weapon, and you've got yourself a trail of bodies in your wake. Because of this, there isn't exactly a great deal of distance between top tier melee weapons and bottom tier melee weapons. You can pretty much bring any melee weapon you want and still kill effectively. It just depends on what speed you want to kill them at. Now, it wasn't like this back in 2019 when we got our last rework to melee weapons. We had some build diversity. Heavy attack builds for certain weapons dealt huge amounts of damage on charged hits, like builds for the Fragor Prime, maybe like the Sephan Nakana as well with a charged build for that, or hybrid charge builds using focus energy so that you could keep some of your combo for charged hits, or seeing weapons even like the Fang Prime finally beginning to shine with plenty of bleeds. But then I guess the meta took hold and melee became the go-to weapon of choice in game with those sets of mods, with some guns, like I said, being used for primers for status effects, notably the Kuva Nukor. So I guess the big question to ask with Warframe right now would be, how do you get from where we are right now with a less than appealing gun game to them being enjoyable again, or them having somewhat the same kind of, I guess, kill speed to what some of the melee weapons have, if you want to bring those on Steel Path, because I don't think they'll ever match the speed at which you can kill with a melee weapon with guns, unless it's incredibly powerful, which can normally lead to one thing. Now, I'm not a developer, so I'm not going to say this is what we should do or this is how we fix things. The same way I wouldn't jump into an armoured tank and shove the crew to one side because Potato knows best. I've no history in that department, I make videos, that's it. But something I feel definitely needs to be done. How do we bump up the damage of guns without turning them into complete overkill weapons? Because we know what that leads to with Warframe, a team of developers who have a history of knee-jerk reactionary nerfs. We've definitely had a few primary or even secondary weapons released over the years that instantly got nerfed because they were deemed too powerful. That I guess melee weapons are way more powerful now than what those guns were back then. So do they give guns a set of mods similar to melee, like Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, to help scale up your damage, risking their builds being the same as melee in terms of diversity, so it will be one build to rule them all, while also closing the gulf between top tier guns and bottom tier, making it not really matter which gun you bring with you. Maybe giving a condition overload type of mod to all guns could also make certain Warframes like Lavos or even Saren stand out way too much, which would also be worrying because of the amount of status effects that they can spread, which again could lead to those Warframes getting a nerf. I'll be honest, right, I bloody hate the fact that you have to weigh every possibility in Warframe when it comes to any type of weapon against one of something receiving a nerf because of this weapon or this change in game. Like, this could be good, but it could also end up getting something nerfed. But it is part of the history of Warframe and its development over the years. Anyway, look, I've blabbed too much. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the current state of guns. Like I said, I don't think melee should be nerfed. That's not what this video is about. Or maybe you disagree with me on the gunplay in Warframe and think that it is fine as it is right now. It's in a good place. Then by all means, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below on why it should be left alone. But whatever you decide to do, make sure and have a good day. And as always, thanks very much for watching.